In this video, I'm going to be showing you my top 5 strumming patterns to take anyone from a beginner to around an intermediate level, and each of these patterns leads on from the other in a really simple way to get you using a pick in the most efficient fashion, get your strumming sounding natural, and make strumming effortless no matter what song you're playing. This first pattern might sound basic, but it's really crucial, and try not to skip any steps here because depending where you are on the line, it can have a really big knock-on effect. So the chord I'm going to be demoing the first strumming pattern with is just a G. But I'm calling this the big G because we're using all 4 fingers. And we're playing it in this fashion. And the strumming pattern is down, down, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, down. Now that's not the most basic strumming pattern that we can use. The most basic one is just playing once per bar or once per beat. But this is the first one that we'd recommend getting some downs and ups with. A trick with up strums is it can sound more natural if you just strum the thinner strings with the up strums. So down, down, up, down, up, down. And we just get a little bit of this rocking motion happening where we're hitting more of the thicker strings and then more of the thinner strings. We need to stay nice and relaxed, especially at the shoulders and especially in your forearm. Allow a slight swing of the strumming hand, but the movement should feel very natural, very effortless, and we really want quite a small motion. Down, down, up, down, up, down. A little bit of wrist motion is absolutely fine and should be encouraged. We should practice that pattern with a chord change, and I'm just recommending the change from a G to a C add 9, which is why we went for this G. Now the whole point of that first strumming pattern is to really enable you to play this second pattern, which is the most common strumming pattern of all time. Once people can do it, it's the one they always default to, but it's a crucial stepping stone for everyone, and this needs to be down, down, up, down. The weird thing here is we're not playing on beat 3, and not playing a down strum on a beat feels weird, and we need the hand to keep moving. Down, down, up, down. And we have that little ghost strumming in the middle, but we don't need to think about that too much. Just try and think of the rhythm. Think of the rhythm more than anything. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. As soon as you feel able to, do that pattern, maybe once or twice, but changing between the G chord to a D major chord to try and force that bigger change, which is still so common, and it will enable you to play loads and loads of songs. It's a really crucial and fun thing to do. I'm holding my pick just between the thumb and the first finger. If you find it easier to hold it with 2 fingers, that's totally fine as well. But as soon as we start to pick anything single strings, we're going to want to hold it like this. So it's a good thing that I would encourage you to look at for now. And you can hear that slight accent of just the thinner strings rather than the thicker ones. But I'm certainly not snatching at them or dragging underneath the strings at all. It's just hitting those strings and gliding across them. In that fashion. So those 2 patterns that we've done already are called 8th strumming patterns, where we split a bar into 8 and we choose whether we're strumming on every one or are we missing some of those 8th notes out. This next strumming pattern is on a 16th grid, so it can in some ways feel like it's twice as difficult. However, the way I'm going to teach it, it won't be. But that 16th strumming thing is really an intermediate skill, and you should know that when you find certain things harder. For example, Wonderwall is a 16th strumming pattern, which is why many people find that incredibly difficult to kind of nail it to the original as a beginner, because it's an intermediate level pattern, really. I'm going to demo this pattern on an E major chord, and it goes like this. It's essentially a 2-beat pattern, and it's just down, 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 up. Down, 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 up. But we're paying even more attention to which strings we're strumming here. My next door neighbour's dog's really excited about this pattern, because we're going to strum the thicker 2 or 3 strings only on the first 2 strums, strum everything again, and then do an up strum just of the thinner strings. Down, 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 up, but thicker strings, all the strings, up. Again, if you're struggling, think about it from a rhythm point of view. It's essentially the Live Forever strumming pattern in some ways. That first drum beat from Live Forever by Oasis. And that's a really helpful thing. Just come back to the rhythm point of view. There's a great video on YouTube by Dave Grohl, who was interviewed, and he said about how he wrote some of his riffs on the guitar from a kind of drummer's point of view. And he said he treats the thicker strings like they're the kick drums or the lower drums, and then the higher strings like a cymbal or a hi-hat. And that's a really great thing to be thinking about here. Boom, boom, ja, boom, ja, boom, boom, ja, boom, ja. Just thinking about it rhythmically. And my chord change there, we're just keeping it really simple from an E major to an A sus2. For 2 super beginner chords, paying attention to which strums we're hitting really makes it come to life. The next strumming pattern is based out of that one, and it's essentially the strumming pattern that we look at in my tutorial for the Master Plan by Oasis. Therefore, I'm going to be sticking on an A minor chord, which is the key of that song. Now, of course, the minor chord's making it sound a little bit somber, but we could play a C chord, slide that C chord over to play a D, and then play any of the other chords, you know. Down, 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 up, up, down, down, up, down, up. Down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. And again, think about it rhythmically first. Down, 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 down. And a really wicked exercise, if we can, is to tap, because again, this is rhythm that we're teaching really, as well as strumming and holding a pick and all that kind of thing. So a cool little thing to work on is to tap, I would say with your left hand, the beat. So always just 1, 2, 3, 4. And then with your right hand, tap whatever rhythm you're actually trying to strum. It's a really very good exercise, super effective, and really highlights straight away why sometimes people can't play a certain strumming pattern. So here, this is the beat, really slow, 3, 4, 1, 2, and the rhythm over the top of that beat. Down, 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 up, up, down, da, 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 da. final pattern pays even more attention to the pick, where we're going to be picking out a single string. This sounds a very folk style pattern, similar to what Bob Dylan might use in many of his songs. So again, the main focus is to get the pattern on one chord first and then see if you can do it with a progression. But because we're playing the root note of a C chord only, and then we're strumming the rest of a C chord with a down, up, so it's root note, down, up, we can then move through the C major scale, going descending, so down to a B, an A, and then a G, which is a perfect kind of late beginner, early intermediate consolidation thing to be doing, really. The pattern on its own on a C chord is just root note, down, up, down, up. The root note is just the lowest note that you want heard from a chord. Again, root note is the lowest string that we want heard. And then we're just strumming the thinnest, kind of 3 strings really. Very gently, very small motions, just moving the wrist a little bit really. And because we're using small motions, just moving the wrist a little bit is absolutely sufficient for this. In fact, a little bit of wrist movement is needed to pick out the single string and then move back to. There's a motion in the wrist where we bring the wrist closer to the guitar, not touching it, but closer. Which I think is really important. After that, we had the C chord, C/B, A minor 7, and then this G chord like this. So those are just some ideas of how you might be able to move your strumming forward no matter what level you're at between beginner and intermediate level, and it can really highlight a few things for more advanced people too. Let me know any questions that you have in the comments below. Leave this video a like if you found it useful, and hope to see you again in another one of my videos. Bye for now.